Let's start the show. Boo-doo-doo-doo, boop-boop-boop-boop-doo. Boo-doo-doo-boop-boop-boop-da. Boo-doo-doo-doo, boop-boop-boop-doo. Boo-doo-doo-boo-doo. Do-do-do. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start this show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Internet. What's up, Internet? What's going on? It's a Monday! Ha! Oh, it's Monday, you guys. Are you fired up? It's Monday, and I'm fired up. 'Cause it's Monday! Why am I yelling? I don't know. I have no idea why I'm yelling. I'm excited, you guys. I'm happy to be back. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Am I happy to be back? I think I'm happy to be back. It's good to see everybody. Who was first to the chat? I forget. You know what? I opened it so early today, and I forgot who was first to the chat. My apologies. But let's say what's up to Mateo. Let's say what's up to Daryl Dimer, 1 Aquaria, Joel G from New Zealand, JH Aquatics, Master Beta, Daddy Tanky. Let's say hi to Mateo again. Why not? What's up, Mateo? John Gonzalez is here, the zombie drummer. What's up? JH Aquatics. What's up, my man? How you doing? I'm going to say hi to Daryl Dimer again, because I can, and I will, and I'm going to do what I got to do. Jad Orzi is here. Samantha Flanagan. I love the Flanagan. I like that. Flanagan. Digging it, Samantha. What's up? Steve Horton is here. Rebecca Recab Harris. I almost ran past your name inappropriately. I'm sorry. Recab Harris, how you doing, man? Water Flora is here. Vexing Cat, Scottish Aquatics. What's going on? Savannah the Aqua Llama, Steve Shrimpery, and more. Along with more, followed by a couple of other things. Mike Perkins is here. Kang Lee. I don't want to double up anymore because it feels redundant when I do it. And I lost my spot. What happened to the chat? Bald and Dangerous is here. Kevin Keener's here. Derek Runyon, Vex Aquatics, Dan Squires, Heather Nielsen from Scarlet Aquatics, Kelsey Clark, Bentley Pascal, Keel Quigley. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. If I didn't say your name, I'm sorry. I tried. I really tried. I tried, you guys. I don't understand what's going on with the computer today. Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. It's a little bit weird over here, but we'll see what happens. The YouTube thing keeps telling me to sign in to chat. Well, hopefully that means it's working, because people are chatting, so I don't know. Sometimes it does this thing where it freaks out, and it's like, dude, are you you? Who are you? And I'm like, I don't know who I am. What's happening? Stop asking me questions, Internet. Who are we all, really, anyhow? Except a bunch of aquascaping, fish tanking, fish family peoples, right? We love fish tanks. That's what brings us together. I love shrimp. I love plants. I love fish, too. Let's go plants, fish. No, plants, shrimp, fish, substrate. Man, I got to figure out my top 10. I don't even know. I got to figure out my top 10. What are my favoriteest things? Acrylic? Somewhere acrylic's in there. You know what I mean? I got to have acrylic in there somewhere. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is the plants, though. I do know the number one, plants and all the plant stuff that goes on with them. That's like my favorite thing. Growing plants, doing plant stuff. Matter of fact, I even uploaded a little garden vlog, which I'll wholeheartedly admit here on the live show we probably should have reshot it because there was a dog barking and then there was wind in there and it was all crazy. But I felt like that video was at least like, here's a slice of our day. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be able to like get, Carson and Robin and Hadley showing up back in there. Like, I don't know. We're going to be able to redo that, So I felt like that would be cool. I felt like it would just be cool to leave it in there and be like, I'm going to put down here at the bottom, just let people know, like, sorry that the audio sucks. There's a dog barking. I can't tell that dog to stop barking. It's just, the neighbor's dog's a little bark machine. You know what I mean? Like, that dog just bark, 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 bark. I try to make friends with it. But it's just one of those things. There isn't much that I can do about it. It's just a little... It's a girl or a boy. I don't even know if it's a female or a male. I'm not 100% sure. But let's just call it a female, I guess, maybe. Right? Let's just say. Because it's one or the other. Just a cute little dog that just can't stop barking. Just can't stop. I don't know. Can't stop or won't stop. I'm not sure. Maybe it's an opinion thing. Maybe it's like... Maybe the dog's just stubborn and is like, no, I'm not going to stop barking. Who knows? I don't speak dogs, so I can't really ever figure it out, even though they have beautiful expressions on their face, and sometimes we get an idea that, like, maybe they are thinking about something. But all they can do is express themselves in barks and wiggles and sometimes bites, just dog stuff, and that dog don't stop barking. But I've spent a long time talking about the neighbor's dog barking. Who knows? Who knows what this show's about? Welcome to Monday, where I continue to get weird and forget to turn the sound off over here. Hold on a second. I forgot to turn the sound off from the other computer over here, and it would probably start blasting out if people be sending me messages and stuff, because... And they're coming in. Look out. Look out, messages. They're coming in hot. These messages is coming in hot. I don't know what these messages do. But if you guys were here for the early chat, quick update on the truck situation. I don't know if I've been forthwith on the information necessarily about the truck. But I do got a new truck, and I did the grandpa maneuver. As I've recently been coined Grandpa Dad. When the baby comes, I think my official nickname will be Grandpa Dad from here on out. Because I dress like a grandpa, I act like a grandpa, I do lots of grandpa stuff. I blame it on my mom. She raised a guy who just goes it through life being a kind of grandpa-y stuff. Which I think is a good deal. If people are saying to remove, get that out of here. I'm not endorsing any kind of violence against anybody's dog or anything like that. That is ridiculous. No. Get it out of here. But back to the topic. I did the grandpa maneuver, and I bought the exact same truck. It just happens to be white instead of that weird Ford green. That inexplicable Ford green that I can't wrap my mind around. I can't figure out if it's a forest green or it's like an emerald green. Maybe it's like a forest green and an emerald green had a baby. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure what that green is supposed to be, but the new truck is white, and it's exactly the same model, same year. It just doesn't have... Well, it's basically the same model. It's the 4x4 V6 that Tampa Tom and I were talking about earlier, that V6, Ford V6 kind of just goes forever. The V8... maybe not so much, a little kind of some design flaws, you know what I mean, in that V8, which is fine. It's still, those ones still run for, 150,000 miles. I'm hoping to get, at least an extra 100 out of this one, because it, what's the word? This is going to be the good vehicle for the next couple of years. while I do grandpa dad stuff and hopefully be doing some more traveling and everything. It doesn't seem like a good idea to take on a big giant loan. So luckily we worked out a deal that's not going to be crippling financially. It's going to work out pretty well, though some expenses on the new truck already. We definitely had to get the suspension redone and a couple other things, which I'd already done to my previous truck. So I'm basically just doing all the improvements that I had done to the exact truck before, because I for instance, I need to get all the I needed to get all the shocks and struts replaced and stuff, mainly because I tow a trailer with it and stuff like that, and also on top of it, when you're rolling in a 20-something-year-old truck and it's kind of doing that, like it's going like it's swaying up and down like an old Cadillac. Just not good on the gas mileage or your tires or any of that kind of stuff. So got that all done, which was great, and got that stuff handled, which is good. Then there's a few other improvements that I'm doing to the vehicle, but not to bore you guys with like car talk. Needless to say, got it handled. My insurance doesn't change because my insurance company was laughing at me because I was like, yeah, I don't think you guys are gonna have to like redo anything with my insurance other than the VIN number. Just update the VIN and make sure it's legit because it's the same truck. Which is hilarious. And they were laughing they're like, what are you doing? This is not the expected thing that we get from people when their vehicle gets totaled. We're like, yeah, you probably were going to get a new truck or something. I'm like, nope, I'm going to get another one. You know what I mean? I'm going to get the same thing. I'm going to rock and roll that. I'm going to rock and roll that deal all together. But let me try to catch up with the chat here a little bit because we got a super chat. We got a super chat from Mike Howie. Mike Howie 9. M Howie 9. Mike Howie. M Howie 9. $4.99. Mike Howie 9. It's got a garden question for you. The daughter has a raised planter. Any way to get rid of chipmunks? I'm going to be brutally honest here when I say that it comes to chipmunks, you're kind of in a world of pain. You're kind of entered a world of pain. They are just persistent. And I will say that they're persistent, that you can get them to kind of stay away from stuff with certain things. I'm not saying specifically garlic spray or anything like that, but things like boy howdy, they don't want to be around some kind of smell. That is kind of the best bet that you could go with those guys is sort of just repel them from the area like they don't want to be there. But there has been a huge chipmunk problem out here in Washington in regards to the campgrounds, okay? A lot of the campground sites and stuff are inundated with the chipmunk factory that is campers. And I'm just going to say that if the Federal Wildlife Commission or the Washington State whatever, if they can't get the chipmunks under control, I don't think any of us stand a chance with our with the shovel and a sturdy mindset, right? But there are ways to kind of eliminate them, though I don't try to go the elimination route as much as I can. I try not to. I do a little bit with the rats and the mice, but I try to pass them on as best I can, instead of just like throwing them in the garbage or anything like that. I try to compost them or something along those lines. You know what I mean? Just to try and kind of. But who was it that posted right there? Where did that go? Wushu Jimmy says fox urine works with deer. Wonder if it works with chipmunks. Typically, like something like fox urine or something like that would actually work to kind of repel the small critters and stuff. It would normally just kind of keep them out of the area. So that might be a great way to go about it. I would do a little bit of online research and see, because the chipmunks aren't something that I deal with unless I'm out camping, because they're just not down here. They're just not down low down here, and I don't have to deal with them very often. But you could definitely trap them, which is kind of unfortunate. But because I'm not a huge fan of trapping as much. So I do try to kind of go the little bit more natural route. Especially bother Victoria. And I definitely don't bait with poison. I definitely don't bait with poison at all, just because the overall environmental impact can just be, you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen, because you could poison rodents, and then the rodents end up dying somewhere and then get consumed by something else, and then it's passed on, and then it's passed on. So that's never a great idea. I would try to just deter them from the area as much as you could. I would almost look into one of the things that we do with the chipmunks when we are out camping, though, is that hanging items seem to work very well, because they're not motivated to really like climb up a tree to get to stuff. So we actually, we do hang our food and stuff from a bag, so that might be a great way to do it. But I do know that with the chipmunks, if you have food in the tent, they will chew a hole through the tent that night, get in there and get your food. But we do hang it from a tree, and that does seem to work. Also, that works with bears, but it's pretty rare that we have to deal with bears that often. They're pretty well stay away from the fires and stuff, though they will come into camps for sure. So, but maintain bear safety also. But okay. I digress. I would say with that raised pot that you're talking about, I would almost look into a hanging option. A hanging option might be a great idea. Might be a great idea to go with. Or you could just get, you could go that really weird route and just get a whole bunch of dogs. I would go with corgis, personally. I would go with corgis. Like maybe if you got like 10 or 12 corgis, they would probably take care of that chipmunk problem. I would take care of that chipmunk issue with corgis, maybe 10 of them, because I love corgis so much. As a matter of fact, Robin was over here asking about yesterday. It was like, are you looking for a corgi? Like, I want a blue heeler. Again, I used to have a blue heeler. His name was Loki, and he was a gangster of all gangster dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I think if I get a pup again, which will be my plan next time, I think I'm gonna try and go corgi heeler mix. There actually is somebody that breeds them up north, who's just a trusted, like, not like a breeder, but just somebody who breeds that type of dog. So sometimes they have them. So I think that might be the dog I go for. Which there were people that I was talking to. They're like, that dog is gonna be bananas. I'm like, yes, bananas dog. So those of you that have been paying attention, Vicky and I have a baby on the way, our first baby, because we're elderly parents as far as the hospital is concerned. Some paperwork says we're elderly. So far, the name that we have settled on is Michael Olivia, and it's really warm in here today. I don't know why. Or maybe I'm just really hot and bothered. But Michael Olivia is the name we've come down to, and I would prefer to have a dog that we can go buck wild in the woods with. If we have like a Tuesday hike day, which I'm thinking long term here. and I'm just kind of spitballing, thinking long term, that I think with the baby, as the baby grows up, I think once we hit that 6-month year mark, maybe year, I'm going to try to maintain one day of the week that we go hiking. And I'm thinking Tuesday, because Tuesday is normally a great day to go hiking and whatnot. And because I do the Real Fish Talk on Tuesdays, if you guys don't know what the Real Fish Talk is, go look that up. And subscribe to that channel. That's Corey and myself, Corey from the Aquarium Co-op and myself, along with Jimmy. But check that out. Anyhow, moving forward, I was thinking that Tuesday would be a fantastic hike day because then I could go hiking up north, because I drive all the way up north. I could get up early, load up Michael, Olivia, and then we could go up there. We could go hiking during the day. And then here's what's pretty cool is that some people were like, Real Fish Talk's going to go away when he's going to have a baby, and then we're not going to have Real Fish Talk anymore. I'm going to tell you something. We're going to have Real Fish Talk because Dorcula has already signed on. Dorcula is Katie, Corey's wife, has already signed on to watch the baby while we Real Fish Talks. So, to those of you out there that were stressing out that Real Fish Talk is going to go somewhere, I'm going to tell you, the only place that it's going is up and up and up and getting better and better. So, relax your stress. Relax your stress. Take it down. Because everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out great. But I'm thinking Tuesdays might be the real hike day with the Real Fish Talk day. With the baby. So I look forward to that. Let's see. Bentley Pascal says, wait, there's a Corgi Healer mix. Please don't tell my lady that. I would love to check that out. I would definitely check that out if I were me, because I love them so much. And we got a super chat here from Alex from the Secret History. Is saying, do you know a good field guide type aquatic plant book with photos and submerged immersed photos, or CO2 versus low tech? I would really love one. Thanks. Hold on, let me see. I got one over here. My cankles. Hold on a second. Now, I'm going to have to see if I can find a link for this one. Hold on. Let me see if I can find... Dinner. How am I spelling this? Let me see. Good. Uh-oh, here we go. We might get lucky here. We might have ourselves a link. Oh, snap. Okay. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Ooh. Let me see. Which one do I have here? Okay. Yes. I've got 2 links. Okay, hold on. Let me get the first one here, and I'll show you what's going on. Copy. Paste. Kapowser. Okay, so there's the first link right there. I'll get the next one to you in just a second, not to bore everybody's brains out here while I click away on the clicking over here. Okay, yes, and here's one right here. Copy. Kapow. Boom. There we go. Okay, so there's 2 links to the older version of this book right here. This is Stefan Hummel and Chris Lukup, whom I hope to be doing some projects with fairly soon. If Chris and Stefan, I don't know how his name's pronounced correctly. I only got to talk to him for a minute. He was very busy. But Chris and I and Corey and Chris's wife and everybody spent a lot of time together. We're talking quite a bit about this book right here. This actual guide to a lot of plants that can be found, whether it be setting up a paludarium, but it has a lot of the examples of plants that you're looking for, where they found them, and things that you can certainly research, whether or not something needs CO2, whether it's an easy plant, a difficult plant, a medium plant. Like here's Rotella wallichii, right? And it says CO2 for sure. You're going to need some highlight. It's an advanced plant. It's a pretty comprehensive book, and they do one of these every year, so it can show you. So here's the cryptocrine flamingo. It give you the water parameters and all that kind of stuff, where they found it, while they were out there. The older versions are just as good. The Aquascaping guide is just as good also. These are fantastic books. I'm doing whatever I can at some point in time to figure out how to get some of these into this more readily into the States. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if we can get them in. If we can get more of them in, that's kind of the plan at this point. But Chris is somebody who's super hard to communicate with because oftentimes he's just off in the bush, right? Just going crazy, taking pictures of stuff and documenting things and doing a bunch of really cool work. So he's just not available to have contact with. He's in the woods somewhere underwater, and last time I checked, my phone didn't work underwater. Long story short, it didn't work at all after that. Priscilla's asking, nice, is the book in German? No, this book is in English, so it's actually pretty readily available. You could get it also in German from my understanding. Though I don't know. If somebody quotes me on that and I turn out to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can get it in German also if that's something that you're interested in. All the ones I got are in English just to make sure that, because most of my fan base speaks English, right? So I wanted to make sure that something I could get is something that I could get my hands on and make sure that it was available for the English audience. Some of the books that Corey and I got while we were over in Germany were actually just from German people that were like, yeah, check it out. Like, here's my published book, But they would say that in German because they only spoke German. But I also got a bunch of other books from Chris while I was there. I got as many books as I could carry, okay? And from my understanding, I might be wrong here, I might be overstepping a little bit, but from my understanding, Chris is going to be getting some more books to us. And by us, I mean me and maybe Corey. I don't know. I don't know what they talked about or whatnot, but I do know that Chris mentioned to me that he was going to get some more books to me or whatnot, so maybe I can send those out or something like that. But to this point right now, I got the copies of books that I had to carry. I'm going to tell you something. That doesn't look like much of a book. It looks like a magazine. It's heavy like a book, though. And really made my packs heavy, getting all these books from Chris and carrying them around. It's not really that big of a deal, like right off a bat. You throw it in your pack, and then, but 3 hours later of carrying it around, it's like, oh, what's all this added weight in here? I got all these cameras and stuff, and so it was, but it was definitely fun. We definitely had a good time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what can come from some hopeful collaboration at some point in time. But those would be the books that I would. Fishaholic Habits says, is the book available on Amazon? So last year, the link that I posted was the Scaping Guide, which I believe the Scaping Guide is from this year. And the aquarium plants guide that I posted is the 2015-2016 version. So that's still a really current version. It's got most every plant probably that you'd be finding in the hobby at this point in time. But it is from 2 years ago. The newer one, I haven't seen it available on Amazon yet. But that's the 2-year-old version one, and it's just as nice. It's just different content. So there's definitely some really good content in those to read too, because there's stories about stuff that they were doing and some other pictures and things like that. So it's quite a good book. Dan Squire says, I made the mistake of offering to carry a climbing rope around some mountains once. It weighed 20 kilograms. Never again. Yeah, I've done that. Boy, howdy, I've hiked a lot of climbing rope in my day, and it's one of those things. You grab 2 piles of rope, and you're like, that's not a big deal. Let's throw this on my pack. I'm buff. 8 miles in, it's like, I'm dying. Can somebody please carry my whole body from here and all that rope? Pete Berlinski is saying, wanting to purchase a Fluval Plant 3.0 here in Australia, but they are over double the price at $400. Can you feel my pain? Boy, howdy, I can feel your pain for sure. That is awful. I think it pretty much has everything to do with the import costs and that kind of stuff. I don't think it has to do with the shipping. I bet you it has to do with the tariffs and stuff like that, would be my guess if I had to go out on a limb with not a lot of information. With it being that high of a price, it probably has something to do with the importing regulation would probably be my thing. Probably because they want to motivate manufacturing jobs. That's more often than not what is going on with the tariffs and things. People seem confused by that at certain points in time, but it's a country will place a tariff on something that's being imported that they more often than not feel like they could benefit from the actual production in the country. So a great way to look at it would be most Toyota cars and stuff are made in the United States. So you think, oh, I'm buying a Japanese car, but more often than not, 90% of it was either made or at least assembled in the United States. So that's kind of one of those things, is that they sort of put those tariffs on so that, hey, Toyota, build a manufacturing plant here. And then they did, and, c'est la vie. But, yeah, it sucks to see how high the price is, but I would guess that's exactly what is going on with the Fluval lights being really expensive in some countries. Luckily, here in the States, the biggest Fluval fresh and plant light is let me see. Let me check here. Aquarium lights. Because I wanted to double check what Corey's got going on. Because right now he's got the Finex Monster Rays, which I was looking at those the other day, and I was considering maybe getting one of those to try out, but I was like, oh, it's $100. So I don't know. Oftentimes I feel like, just trying something out at $100 kind of feels, I don't know, kind of lame. Hold on. Where's my link converter? Where did you go? I want to post this link to the internet peoples. Come on, man. Hold on. I'm going to go to the and then go to the and then click the and then oh wait. Hold on a second, guys. I got to get this thing right. I got to log in. There. Now I can get my thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can't. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong, internet? Come on now. Okay, here we go. Copy. Then we put it over here so that it will go into the chat. Because if I don't do this right, the YouTube just deletes it. So I have to convert every link that I find. I have to get them converted, otherwise YouTube deletes them. They're like, don't send people away. I'm like, open the other window. It's fine. They'll stay. Voirus is asking why the blue balloon's behind you. Because it's Festive Monday. You know. It's Festive Monday, right? Because it's Festive Monday, I have those from Saturday. We had a baby shower here for a friend of ours. We hosted a baby shower here at the house before the Saturday live stream. If you guys missed the Saturday live stream, boy howdy, was it any good? I don't know. I was the host of it, so I have kind of an inflated opinion on whether or not I thought it was good or not, which is unfortunate. It's hard to stay impartial about a thing that you're making yourself, right? So I feel like we had fun. I don't know, though. Did we? There's some people here today. Maybe they were inspired by the Saturday show. Who knows? I wouldn't be in knowledge of that. But right before we go to the video segment, you guys, we got to talk about something here for a second. If you guys don't know what the Patreon is, I'm going to post a link to it right here. Go check out the Patreon. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the stream, if you're new to the madness, if you're new to whatever it is that we do here, maybe you're new. Maybe you're old. I don't know. But maybe you've never been to the Patreon page, right? Maybe you've never been there. You're confused what it is. It's a third party, three, right? Third party website that hosts the crowdsourcing that we're able to be able to show up here and do the show. I could spend all my time yelling at insurance companies, or I could show up here and just being talking to the fish fam and helping you guys out and having the fun here that we get to have, and making the videos and making the segments and stuff. And that's where the Patreon comes in. We're basically crowdsourcing we hit 300 patrons, you guys. 300 patrons even. Steven, 300 patrons. That is an amazing number. 300 people are chipping in. It's a monthly fee. If you feel like $1 a month is good, if you feel like $10 a month is good, you could be extremely gangster and be at the $100 level a month, right? And what is the $100 a month thing? It's like the only reward I have really right now on there. To those of you that have been following the Patreon and stuff like that, yes, I will have some more rewards. We'll have some more rewards coming up, and things that we have. But right now at the $100 mark, like Travis Carter, my man Travis, going big time. He's pledging $110 a month. $100 a month. There's only 5 people that can get a spot. Get a producer credit. Get yourself a producer credit. Get yourself a producer credit, right? Which means I'll make a video, as long as it's appropriate, of what your request is. So, like, you could be somebody who's like, I'm confused about driftwood. I'm going to be like, cool, man. We're going to make a driftwood video. All right. So right now, Travis Carter has one of the producer credits. And we also have one other producer who escapes my mind right at the second, because there's been a lot of new people coming in. And thank you very much, you guys. It's pretty big time. I got to find him here. Oh, man, it's only going back to June 1st. What happened? Well, we've lost some people. I'm seeing those people that we've lost. It's sad. I have like a weird funeral for them. Hold on, I got to go to the Patreons here. View all current patrons. We don't want to see the non-current ones. By amount. Here we go. The top tier. Keith hours. What's up, Keith? Keith's got a credit. Travis Carter will have a producer credit next month once that goes through. And the Fishy Mailman. Those are our 3 producers right now. Aquapros is here, and he's confused about driftwood, which is pretty typical. You can notice that if you watch his videos. You know what I'm talking about. And you know what he's talking about also. It's good to see the Aquarium Co-op here. It's good to see the Aquapros showing up. Pete Berlinski says, I'm proud to be a Patreon for Corvus. Oscen, well, thank you. I'm proud to try and show up and do the best I can to, entertain, educate, / whatever. Sing into the microphone and yell and act like a weirdo. Do the best I can with that stuff. But anyhow, we've talked about Patreon long enough. Is that enough commercial for you all? Okay, cool. Let's move on. Boo, 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 boo. Kelsey Clark, maybe if my new job pulls through, I can get my pledge up that high. Well, fingers crossed, Kelsey, that you get the new job. Not necessarily for the Patreon. Fingers crossed that you get that new job, because that sounds awesome. It sounds like an awesome new gig. I mean, if you're like raining, if you there's potential for you to be raining Benjamins from sky, right? That's a good gig. But I'm from the dollar all the way up to the $100 million. It's all legit. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate it big time. But let's move on to the video segment today. What's the video segment about? Today's video segment was brought to you by the SD card crashing. The SD card crashed. It was not writing as fast as it should. I don't know why. I'll probably have to reformat it. I'll probably just wipe it, reformat it. It'll probably be fine. In reality's sense of the word, the reality sense of the word, it probably just needs formatting and just get it all cleaned up, and I will do that, and we'll see what happens. But it's probably been through a lot. They have a tendency to get wet. They have a tendency to be in my pocket. Sometimes these things happen. So I feel like I had a really good video shot, and this is going to be let's say that this is a 6.5 out of 10. So it's not the worst thing you've ever seen, but we'll be able to talk about it. Today we're going to talk about pearlweed. If you don't know what pearlweed is, I would go ahead and take yourself a second and do a little gurgle search. Do a gurgling search on the internet of Hemianthus micranthomoides. Micranthomoides. It's basically a North American plant that I've never seen in North America, personally. It's sort of the medium variety of, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for here? Dwarf baby tears. It's like the medium variety. It's like the medium variety. Let me grab the link I got here. Oh, cool, man. Way to have it prepared, bro. You guys, I gotta do a thing here. Hold on. I gotta do the link thing again so that it works. What are you doing? Behave, woman. Oh, that's not right. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Clicking buttons. Put the thing in here. Paste. Copy. Bazinga. Oh, man. Did I get faster at it? I don't think I did. Anyhow, go ahead and grab that link right there. Let's make sure that this thing is going to play from the beginning, because that's a pretty smooth transition, wasn't it? Let's make sure it plays from the beginning. Oh, look at that fade in. Oh, you guys, it's fading in. Look how good that is. Oh, my gosh. It's like I edited it. Did it. I sort of edited it, you guys. I did my best to redo all the shots that I had done because the SD card kind of gave me a hard time. But there's some of the rummy nose tetras up close. You get a chance to check them out a little bit because they're just a beautiful little buzzards, little boogers. They're doing great. There's that one skinny one right there that's not looking very great. But overall, the colony of rummy nose tetras are doing quite well. I'm happy to say. The pearlweed is a little bit finicky for some people, but pretty rare do I get a bad review on this plant. It's one that you get in the mail. Basically, if you were to like order this up, you get it in the mail. It kind of looks like, oh my gosh, it's not gonna make it. Pearlweed's the one that you want. Pearlweed's the one that you want if you're having a bit of issues with some of the ground covering like tiny leaved plants like this. As you can see, mine's reaching up a little bit tall right now, which is kind of on purpose. I basically moved the lights away from it a little bit to let it get leggy, which when I say leggy, that means it's growing up kind of taller like that. You can really focus some light on it and it will grow compact down to the ground, or you keep your kind of medium strong light on it and you're going to have to trim it like I'm going to do in the video here. The previous video was about 12 minutes long. This one's only about 4.5 minutes long, so we'll let it replay a couple of times so you guys get a good chance to look at it. I felt like I had a really good detailed one, and then it just went away. Now, I don't mean to lament over something that you guys don't get a chance to see, but it still hurts me inside right now. The wound is fresh, okay? And, but, uh-oh, dog's barking. Dog's barking, you guys. Dog's barking. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, shut up. Oh, hold on. What's going on here? Dang, you guys, I was really hoping that was a tow truck going to tow that car that was left out front of my house. It's not. It was just a guy in an Enterprise van. Kind of jealous of that Enterprise van, though, by the way. But if you're trying to get it to carpet, this is pretty much what you want to do. You're going to have to trim it down, right? The way that I'm doing here. Now, at the very beginning video, I was... at the very beginning of the video, I was using scissors to do it, which is realistically, if you're trying to get super accurate with your trimming, that's going to be the best bet to go. Go ahead and use some of those curved scissors, the lengthy curved scissors. You want to use those long ones. Work out really well. But here's a little hot tip and trick, of which you guys can't see because I'm in the way. Hold on a minute here. I got to make sure, where am I at? I'm going to go ahead and move myself up here out of the way so you all can get a better look at the video. Sorry about that. There, I can just be floating up here in the upper left. And then you guys can get a good look at what I'm doing. There we go. That's better. So you can use the scissors to trim them down, and it will eventually start spreading out nice and low. The more you trim it, as every time it kind of grows up tall, it'll kind of send out side shoots and eventually carpet really well. Or you can do what I'm doing here, where I moved the lights away and allowed it to grow up tall. Because the reason I want to do that is because right now I'm in full propagation mode. I'm utilizing I think I got one pot of this plant. So if you have patience, one pot of plants is going to do great for you. But if you're trying to cover a really big tank, I would go ahead and order 3, 4, 5 pots, individualize the stems, and just cover the whole place and let it grow in, and then just start trimming it like a maniac. But I would say the way that I am, and let's not say that I'm cheap, okay, guys? Saying that I'm cheap is not the kindest thing that you could say to me, okay? It's not the nicest thing that you could say. It's not the worst thing that you could say, but let's say I'm thrifty. You know? I like to stay thrifty. I'll be hanging out at the thrift store, the secondhand. Call me Macklemore. I'm at the thrift shop doing whatever. No, I just try to spend the least amount of money that I can on certain things like plants because I enjoy the propagation process more than just setting something up and then being like, oh, look, now we're done, move on. I enjoy the propagation process myself, actually, spending the time kind of working on it, growing the plants, replanting them, trimming the tops off, and propagating and spreading out an area. It makes me feel a lot better with Escape once I'm, because I it's not to say that I have a relationship with my fish tanks, but my aquascaping, I like to have put in the work, put in the time, and been really involved with the things that are going on. If this was, say, like a customer's tank, I would just have gone like the 5-6 pot method, spread it out really well. It'll grow in really quickly. And, from a customer's perspective, they just want it to be grown in quick. For me, I like to take the time and let it grow in and really establish, kind of go through all the phases of the plant instead of just, having set up a video and then having set up a tank, like made a video of it and then moved on and do something else. I like to continue to work with my my aquariums over and over and over again. And as you can see, I hit the camera. So now the camera's shaking around. It's a good video, you guys. You know what I mean? Wait, my spidey sense just went off. Some peeps are talking about cooking. What's going on here? My spidey sense has been activated. At Aquarium Co-op, you should join the party. Let's get Bob to eat pie. Is somebody going to eat pie? What is going on? What is happening? I have noticed that people are mentioning in the chat you might want to get some more tanks. I do have some more tanks coming. I picked one up the other day that's going to need some rehab, which I'm going to be making some videos out of. I probably could have hammered out the rehab and have it set up already, except for shooting the video part would have been really, really terrible. So I would like the video to be a better version, so I'm actually taking my time with cleaning that up, getting all the shots and stuff like that, so people could really check out what exactly it is to take an old used tank and then turn it into something that looks like a whole new display. So something that maybe you guys could do out at home, find something on Craigslist and rehab it and have it turn into something that you really enjoy. What's going on over here? What's this thing? Do. What's happening with this thing over here? Hey, stop doing that. Where did... there it is. Okay, sorry. This other computer's like really distracting me today with all its flashing lights and new alert things going on. Which means I have to get in there and mess with the windows because it's... Stop telling me that things are happening. I don't like that. I don't like it when this other computer's telling me that stuff is happening. You're a robot. Do what I tell you and behave. Otherwise, we'll sacrifice you to Skynet. We'll call in the whatever, Skynet people. Have them come get you. Was John Connor? But the what was I talking about? Yeah, so the pearl weed. One of the things that I've found over the years when you are propagating it, that you don't necessarily need the scissors. If you can pick just the right spot, you can actually do this as an all-in-one with the tweezle twazzles, as we like to put them, as we like to call them around here, around these parts. That's them long tweezers, you know what I'm talking about. So you can actually grab a point and... Oh, come on now, be faster, guy. I thought it was going to be... I thought my timing was going to be right on. But apparently I'm just looking around with the tweezers. Oh, we've got a spot. Get the tweezers right in there. Boop. And you can pop it off and get just a little bit of root with you. So what you're looking for is you're going to go right below the highest aerial root. So that's going to be a root that's coming out of the plant, right, up above the substrate. So it's going to have grown up, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. it'll start to send out some aerial roots, which are those roots that are kind of coming off the stalk of the plant, the stem of the plant. Now you want to get just below the top ones, the highest ones of those, with the tweezers. Give it a good pinch, like, not a ton of pressure or anything crazy like that, but grip it tightly and just give it a quick tug, like you were pulling out an ear hair or something like that. I'm 100 million years old. I've one ear hair. It's over here. It's my friend. I named it Steven. His name's Steve. But you give it a quick tug like that, and you can actually just keep it in the tweezers, right? You'll have it with you already in the tweezers. It won't be free floating all over the place. You won't have to turn off your aquarium to do this. You don't have to like turn everything off and mess around with it and do that kind of stuff, because the stuff won't be free floating all over the place to clog up the overflow or any of that kind of stuff. You'll be able to just have it in the tweezers already, and then you're ready to replant it into a new spot. The grouping on planting, basically with pearlweed, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that it will spread out. It will start to spread. So you do want to keep each little stem probably about at least an inch apart, because they will start to occupy a lot of space and send out new shoots and runners and stuff like that. So you don't want to plant them too tightly together, because eventually they will just grow together. Now, I probably would go about 1 centimeter apart if I was planting, for instance, for like a customer, and I had a lot more stems to utilize, and I wanted to, like I was talking about earlier, go with that whole planted aquariums, like boom, just ready to go. It's going to grow in super quickly. That's probably what I would do, is plant them about 1 centimeter instead of 1 inch apart, which I think initially what I did here was plant them about 6 inches apart, which does seem pretty far, but this stuff will grow together, it will fill in, and it will be a brilliant green. It's one of the great things I really love about pearlweed. It has this, when it's growing, it has this really bright, vibrant green about it, very similar to the stargrass that I have next to it. As you guys notice, I'm a big fan of really brightly green colored plants. They just, for whatever aesthetic reason, I really enjoy them. Although you can see in the background, I've got bulbitis there, which is that very dark green. But I definitely appreciate the contrast of having some really dark green plants and some really light lime green, like lighter than lime green type plants. They're almost iridescent. They're almost fluorescent, just how brightly green they are. And that contrast with those two plants really pops to me. It really makes me, kind of really draws me in. The really bright stuff really draws me in. The dark stuff just sort of sets the background, you know what I mean? And I pretty much almost always use all my big, really dark plants to fill in those big spots in the background, so you're not necessarily looking at a straight up black sheet of acrylic along the back that does realistically just look like an actual piece of really nice looking flat plastic. But as we roll along here, one of the things I would recommend with pearlweed is I would certainly consider with pearlweed to have at least medium light. A directional light is almost always good. A directional light is almost always good. What is this? All right, hold on a second. We just got an alert. Let's see what's going on here. Hold on, guys. But I'll stick talking about the pearlweed. The pearlweed doesn't necessarily need CO2. I would recommend it. I would recommend it because of how easily it is to be utilized. Right? These days, it's really not a huge reach to get some CO2 and add a little bit into your aquarium. It's not really all that difficult to get it handled, right? What the hell is going on here? What is this? I don't know. That weird insurance company just sent me a text that they issued a payment, but they didn't because I just checked. Anyhow, so, right, back to where I was at. Because CO2 is so readily available and pretty easy to access, I would recommend just getting CO2 for people. A lot of times people are like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. And yesterday, I was actually dealing with somebody who was selling a CO2 unit locally. That I was kind of like, I was realistically wondering what was going on, because some of what he posted didn't make a lot of sense, right? Because I was like, man, it doesn't seem like the tank you have is the size you say that it is. But this is the CO2 unit that he had. I just posted a link there that you guys could check out. And where did this stupid thing go? Hold on. And then we got to find the CO2 tank. Here we go. All right. And then here's a cylinder that you can get right here. Copy, paste, kapow. There we go. Okay, so there's a CO2 tank right there that is an empty tank. They will not ship it to you full. So you want to make sure that locally somebody has an exchange program, right? That you'll be able to get a CO2 tank exchanged with a filled one. The one that you get off Amazon is going to be shipped empty, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, if you could find one like that used around you and you do have an exchange program, it's going to save you a lot of money. Where do you go to find an exchange program? I get this oftentimes. I get this question quite a bit. You would definitely want to find a local welding store is almost always the easiest way to find out where you can get CO2 gas. CO2 gas is used in welding as a shield gas, right? Because it's not flammable. It's used as a shield gas to keep your welds correct, and we don't need to go too deep into that. But you're gonna want to call a local welding shop, and they will be able to tell you where to go for an exchange program. I don't know where you live. I don't know what the deal is, but that's where you're gonna go. That's where you're going to go to exchange for that 5-pounder. That 5-pounder is going to hold 5 pounds of CO2. When they compress CO2 down, it'll eventually become a liquid. That's what they fill the tanks with. That regulator that I posted up there, that one is pretty much at, I think, like $47 or something like that. I think right now on Amazon it was, $47.89. And I think that even comes with, you might need to get some airline, but most fish keepers out there know about some airline, and they'll be able to figure that out. I think that basically comes with everything that you need. It's got the bubble counter, it's got the solenoid that turns on and off of a timer. It's got all the stuff that you need. And if you're really looking at that, it's like $110. So that's 40. Let's call that 50. The tank brand new was $60. You can probably find one much cheaper off of Craigslist or some kind of local ad, right? We'll have some kind of local ad, right, that you could find a used tank. You can take the used tank in and exchange it for one that's full. So don't ever stress out about getting a used tank or the one that you're going to get from the store. It's probably not going to be as bright and shiny as the one that you get. If you have to wait for them to actually fill it, it's probably going to be 1 week turnaround. Okay, I've gotten the question a lot of times that people are like, dude, I got my brand new tank. It's all bright and shiny, and I went to exchange it, and they gave me a really ugly one. You're like, Yeah, it's just kind of how life works sometimes. You can get them to fill the one, but it's like I said, it's probably a week, maybe even 2 weeks, where they send it somewhere to get it filled properly from a safe place. And as Steve is saying, if you have an all gas, they will fill your tank. Most of the places will fill your tank. They don't do it on site that much anymore, just because of safety reasons. They normally are just doing it at a place where they're filling them. Unless you have a gigantic tank, they'll send out a truck to fill it, which none of us do. It just would be weird for any of us to have one of those. Denise Bender's here saying, Joel, love this tank because of the rummy nose, but did you all just have an earthquake? I thought I was having an earthquake. Having problems with my camera jib arm right now because it's my counterweight is a bucket of paint, which is not the greatest thing to use, and it was just being unwieldy today. I'm not sure why. I'll figure it out though. It's not a big deal. I gotta go to a used sporting goods store and get a weight that I can use. I've just never have been using the paint can. It's working good, but I think it's time to get rid of the paint can and just go buy like a 3-pound plate weight, right? Let's see. The other Bob says, you have some really nice Planet tanks at Scottish Aquatics, hoping I can find the one you identified. Oh, that's right. Scottish Aquatics was on Bob Steenfat's channel. If you haven't seen that video, I would definitely go check it out after this show. And speaking of Bob Steenfat, I know that he has a Monday live stream, so you should probably check out the Monday Bob Steenfat live stream because I don't know. I'm not 100% sure exactly what... I'm not exactly 100% sure what they what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not exactly 100% sure what days he's going to be live streaming anymore. That's what it was. Sorry. I'm getting all these weird emails from this insurance company, and it just totally distracted me. I got to turn off this notification thing on this other computer. I turned it off on this one. I forgot to do it on that one. But they keep telling me that they're sending me payments, and yet they don't have... It doesn't say how much... It's a payment on claim number blah, blah, blah was submitted to your bank today. Electronic transfers can take up to 10 days to process. Oh, it's very interesting. The things that are happening. I'm sorry to be completely distracted from fish tank stuff, but the things that are happening with this insurance situation is just befuddling to me. And I'm at a loss for words. I guess they're sending payments now, even though we haven't come to an agreement on anything. Dan Squire says it's a phishing scam. I wish it was, but it's not. It's coming from the right people, and those are all the correct claim numbers and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'll figure it out later. I'm sorry for being distracted, you guys, but yes, so Scottish Aquatics had a dope video on Bob Steenfat's channel. I would definitely go check that out. And I would also check out the live stream with Bob Steenfat today because I think he's only doing Mondays from now on. I think that's what I understood from the few minutes that I had an opportunity to listen to his stream last week sometime. But either way, I would definitely go over there, bombard him, and... be like, what's up, dude? Tell me some stuff about stuff. And then he'll be like, stuff. But I was talking about the pearlweed here. Pearlweed's been one of my long-standing favorite plants. It for sure has. The substrate for it isn't super demanding, but I would definitely make sure that you have something that does have a little bit of iron in it. I have noticed that even though it is a green plant, it is a carpeting plant, it is a little plant, it does need something with a little bit of iron. So you guys can notice that I've got the red substrate in the 240 here, which is pretty friendly to it. I wouldn't stress out too much if you don't have the right substrate, because I have noticed from just dosing a little bit of iron. Now, if you happen to be somebody who utilizes easy green, there is enough iron in that. So I don't think you would have to add extra iron. The easy green does have enough iron in it that it does help this plant grow very well, and it does work out pretty fine. But I've noticed in the past that if you do have a little bit of an iron-rich substrate, it does have a tendency to do better long term. So that's a little pointer that I would definitely throw to you guys. I haven't noticed that with pearlweed, it doesn't need to have fine or coarse or medium substrate. The substrate size has been pretty irrelevant as far as the plant's concerned from my findings of messing with it for a long time. But I would say something that is super fine or compacting like that, it will have slight issues maintaining solid growth for a long period of time. So I would look something. If you were going to go sand, I would try to stay in the coarse sand, or kind of like, let's say you had Corydorus and you want them to shoal on some really nice fine sand. I would kind of set aside an area where you could have a little bit a coarse sand, or something like Amazonia, like the Aquasoil or something along those lines, and so the Corydorus aren't needing to get their barbels down in it and that kind of stuff. But other than that, anything that compacts a bit much will definitely slow it down, and it won't grow as well, and you'll definitely end up with a lot of yellowing from anything that is underneath that sand. So that would definitely be a pointer with the substrate. And as I mentioned earlier, a directional light is better to utilize with this. T5s will work reasonably well. T5s being the older style tube lighting, it does work well, but I have found that it responds a lot better to LEDs. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go buy a Fluval Freshen plant. You could definitely go check out the I posted it earlier. Where did it go? The Phoenix Monster Ray. That's the one that we're looking for here, is the Monster Ray. That one is quite a decent light. It's about half the price. That one seems to work quite well. But you definitely want an LED. I used to grow quite a bit of this with some really cheap LED landscape lighting, which, by the way, I don't recommend at this point. You're just essentially going to end up spending quite a bit of money in the long run using something cheap like that. I would go with something like Fluval, something like Phoenix, something with a reputable company that actually does a planted light. But the LED is much better light for the pearlweed specifically, mainly because of how directional it is. It's not taking in a lot of ambient light. It's normally the upper leaves that are doing a lot of the photosynthesizing. So you want to be able to get some directional light to be hitting it direct on, so that once it carpets out, each of those little, each of the little tiny, the tops of it that are kind of reaching up are able to photosynthesize, so it doesn't die out in spots and have dead areas and things like that. So, did I cover most of the things? Water quality is pretty basic. You don't have to go above and beyond. I'm pretty sure the pH range on this one is between 6 and 8. It's not anything like super specific with the pearlweed, which I find to be a good thing. I find that to be a good thing, that it does work out quite well in that realm, right? I find it to work out quite well, that it does have kind of a wide range of pH that it can handle and it not be a big deal. because I've been able to take it from tank to tank that like, oh, I'm running this one at 6 or 6.4, and this one I'm running at 7.6. Haven't seen a big variation in the pH other than getting over 8 or anything below 6 is when I've kind of noticed that this plant does have issues from time to time. And I think that probably has a lot to do with the stomata. It's probably not able to do what it needs to really do, which by the way, you guys, I said stomata about 1,000 times this weekend so that I could remember and not say stoma, which is cool. But all good times, right? But anything higher than, anything below 6, above 8 could be real goofy for this plant. I wouldn't go too close to 6 or 8. Either way, I would try to stay in that 6.5 to 7.5. In that little range right there is going to work out pretty well for this plant. Is it the stomata? Probably. That generally is the issue with most plants when the pH is all out of whack. Mayhem's tanks, says I really like them rummy nose. Yeah, me too. If you guys had tuned in last week, you'd know we're going to be relocating those rummy nose most likely to the 60-gallon cube because I'm going to start jacking the temperature on them and get them to start breeding. That's going to be the long-term plan with these rummy nose, which means I'm going to have to get some fish to occupy the space in the 200, which I'm excited to be able to do and figure out exactly what's going on. So if you guys have some ideas, throw them down in the comments down below after the video uploads, and I'll be able to check that out and see like what you got to say. Speak of the devil. Am I speaking of the devil? No, I'm not speaking of the devil. I'm not speaking of the devil. What's the devil anyhow? The devil's in the details, you guys. Did you guys have any questions? Questions, comments, or complaints? Fishaholics Habits is asking, do you have any shrimps in there? Yes, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cherry shrimp. They are everywhere. If you move that stargrass a little bit, they come popping out. And during that video, there's a couple of cherry shrimp in the front, but I think that the contrast from the light coming from the back, you really can't see them all that great. But the rummy nose are always kind of swimming around and going crazy, which sort of makes the shrimps hide out a little bit. So they... they don't want to be out in the open and get bit. You know what I'm saying? They shrimps, yo. Uh-oh. Dank Tanks is here. Look out. Let's see if we got any other questions here. What plants do you recommend in a 45-gallon guppy breeding for profit and pleco breeding tank? Nothing. If you're breeding guppies and you're breeding plecos... Well, I mean, if you're going to put plants in for profit, that's my question. Are the plants for profit? Shoot, that's kind of my question. Are the plants breeding for profit, or is it just the plecos and guppies breeding for profit? Because if you have breeding for profit tanks, I would almost always go with an overtray aquaponic type situation so that you're not really affecting the water quality in order to grow the plants. Because if you're breeding plecos and guppies, you basically don't want to be jamming CO2 into the aquarium. If you have a specific water parameter that you need to stick to, for breeding for profit, right? You don't want that water quality to be weird for any reason. So you wouldn't want to be adding CO2 and dumping a ton of light in there. You wouldn't want to be doing a lot of that. But what you would have a good option for is to build an aquaponics tray for the top and grow them emergent up above. If you are growing plants for profit, you almost always want to grow them above water, emergent, okay? One of the big reasons for that is the rapid growth of them being up in the air. It's much easier to grow them because CO2 is readily available in the air. Also, lighting is super easy up here in the air where we live. It's really easy to light things. And also, the root feeding will help keep the water clean, okay? And One of the big things is if you're growing plants for profit, that means somebody is buying them from you. And you want to be able to give them some kind of guarantee like, hey, there's no algae on these plants, there's no snails on these plants, there's no this, there's no that, right? The only way that you're realistically going to be able to do that is by growing emergent plants. It's almost always the biggest gripe that you will see if somebody is buying a bunch of plants from you is that, oh, I put your plants in an aquarium and now I've got bladder snails. Dude. Or, I got your plants and it looks like maybe there's some hair algae on them. That's almost always going to be the biggest complaints you get, and it will be especially the complaints that you get from stores and stuff, because stores are definitely going to take the time to go, what are we getting from this guy? What is happening here? Or girl. So if you're doing that, you always would want to be growing them emergent and being able to send them out. Growing them underwater is important if that's really what you're selling for. But then you're going to have to be doing a lot of customer service. Okay. So, or at least not be giving any guarantees on stuff. But if you are growing plants for profit, I would remind people that you're going to have to be able to sell each plant at an average cost of 80 cents to be able to make any money, basically. So I would bear that in mind. There are, well, maybe $1.20. No, let me think here. In the range between in the range nowadays, I think $1.20 to about $2. So every plant that you sell, you're going to have to be able to sell it at that rate and make money, not at the retail cost. So you're going to have to keep that in mind if you're selling. If you're going to do plants for profit, that's the profit margin that you need to be working off of, not like the Pearl Weed going at $8.99. The $8.99 for Pearl Weed, that's the reseller's price. So somebody like Aquarium Co-op, he's charging $8.99 because he buys the emergent plant, then he converts it, right? He converts it underwater before he ships it out to you. So that's going to be those additional costs, plus the employees and the shipping and blah, 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 and all that kind of crazy stuff that goes into it. That's the $8.99. So if you're breeding plants for profit, you need to be able to sell that at the cost that's going to be able to work for anybody who's buying plants. And that's just business. You know what I mean? Like if I go to buy some brake pads at cost, right? If I go buy brake pads at cost, they're about $15. If you go buy them at the service place where they put the brakes on, they charge you about $59.99. That's just how it works because they got to pay all that stuff. So if you are going to grow plants for profit, do your math and be like, can I sell these for like $1.50 and still make money? So I would watch out for that. But if you are growing plants and you're utilizing tanks that you're breeding for profit with the fish and stuff like that, always grow them emergent up and above, and it's not really going to soil or screw up the water or anything like that. And it's definitely, you won't have to be super stressed out about the water condition or the like the pH and all that kind of stuff. You can keep it right where you need it to be. Whew. Randy Hightower is asking, any tips for someone having a hard time getting Java Fern to do well? Anubias and Pogostemon seem fine, but never had any luck with Java Fern for some reason. Randy, I'm going to need a little more information. This would be a great post to post up on the Patreon. I know I got some questions I got a bunch of questions the other day of like, hey man, where can I go to ask you questions? Like, what can I do that? The Patreon's a great place to do it. There's a community tab on there. So you can start out at $1, right? And it gives you access to be able to post. You can start out at $1 a month, and you can post onto the Patreon. You can post pictures on there. You can do all that, right? You can post all that stuff on there. So what are your tank parameters? You've been testing, like what have you been doing? Here's a couple pictures of what's going on, and that can definitely help out. We can definitely diagnose some of the things that are going on with your Java Fern. I'm going to be doing some videos later this week on Java Fern, so I'm not deferring your question right now. I'm saying, please give me some more information so I can help you out better, because I don't want to be like, dude, your pH is off, when I don't know. I don't have enough information right now. But Randy, not Steven. I just read Steven's name. But Randy, that'd be a great spot to reach out and post that stuff up there. Scottish Aquatics is attempting to breed German blue rams. And Scott, we'll figure something out. We'll definitely do a barbecue or come over to your place. I've been planning on doing that anyhow. We're just going to have to figure out like when that is going to work. Speaking of work, I will be appearing tonight on the Aquarist podcast. I don't have a link for it right now because I don't know when he's going to post it, but I will be doing that tonight. So the Aquarist podcast, I'll be appearing on there, which means I got about 5 minutes because I got to start prepping for that because I got to do a remote call-in where I'm going to be on the Aquarist podcast. Great little podcast. I love it. If you guys can get a chance to check it out, share it out, and that kind of stuff, like let's just keep rocking and rolling and sharing the love. I was listening to the one with Therese Neal on it the other day, and fantastic. Finally got to meet her in person when we were in Germany, which was really cool. So kind of a weird context to be like, oh, I met this person. Oh, I'm listening to the podcast. Oh, weird. Cool. Speaking of podcasts and meeting people, Gary Lang will be our guest tomorrow on The Real Fish Talk. And if you're not excited for that, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Gary Lang is the rainbow fish dude. He is the dude of the dudes of the dude of the dude rainbow fish style, okay? And if you don't like rainbow fish, I would still tune in because he is the dude. He has got a rainbow fish species named after him, okay? Scientifically, he has the science. So it just gives you an idea. If you don't know who Gary Lang is, look him up. Get yourself familiar because he will be on The Real Fish Talk tomorrow, and it will be pretty exciting and a pretty good time. We got about 4 minutes left. Let's see if we can't answer some questions. Let me give a quick holler to LG3 Nation. Thanks for the super chat, and Daryl Dimer. Thanks for the super chat, guys. Throwing in on the tip jar, man. That is huge too. God, man, it's hard for me to express my appreciation and not sound like a broken record, but thank you very much to the patronizers. Thank you much to the subscribers, the super chats, everybody. Like, man, it's huge. I feel like we're getting over a hurdle here. We're getting to a point where I hope that like the bigger the projects, the bigger the stuff is coming. It feels like it's coming. I've got more German videos. I got a bunch of other stuff coming out too, so stay tuned for all that. And let's see. Jeff Mueller saying, I finally got my Dark Knight Rams to breed. I can't wait to see them grow up. Yeah, me neither. I can't wait to see them grow up either. I am pretty excited about these Dark Knight Rams. You know, when we had Dean on, he was telling us about the Dark Knight Rams, and I'm pretty zazzed for them. I didn't consider myself like, boy, howdy, do I got to get Rams ever again. Until these Dark Knight Rams started showing up, and Dean was talking about them, and I'm like, dude, those are cool. So maybe some point in my future I'll be getting some Dark Knight Rams. Who knows? What do we got here? What do we got? Adios from Idaho. Well, I'll see you late. Just Bob says, good seeing the Patreon grow. I tell you, I'm always amazed by it, you guys, and I appreciate it. And you know, we're like 2/3 of the way. We're like 2/3 of the way there to the goal of just being like, yeah, we don't even need a sponsor, you stupid companies. Get out of here. Yeah, we're about 2/3 of the way of just being like we don't need a sponsor because this would be sponsored by the fans. I'm really, really, really trying hard to get some sponsorship. but it's you guys. You know, it really is. It just comes down to you guys. I'm really trying to. We're 2/3. We're basically halfway there to the point of being like, we don't even need a sponsor. Like, screw it. Let's stop wasting our time with that, and we'll just keep rocking and rolling. You know what I mean? So that's amazing. I didn't even think we'd ever get to this point. I had like six patronizers at one point, and I remember going like, yeah, I don't know if this is even a good idea. But to be brutally honest, like, I get up in the morning, it's like the first thing I check is the Patreon. There's almost always like a cool post on there. I almost always have like a really cool message from people. The Friday show is all about the Patreon fan questions, which is awesome, which is totally cool. And it's like the first thing that I open up. I don't open up Facebook or my email or that kind of stuff. That's what I open up because I'm just like, dude, I'm so grateful, and it's super encouraging. You know what I mean? It's super encouraging. But anyhow, a bunch of people are leaving because they know it's coming up on the end of the show. But Dan is reminding people to share the shows out. We need you guys to share it out because YouTube ain't going to do it. If you guys share it out, awesome. I need you guys to hit the like button. Did we do the like spike? Oh, no. Did we hit the like button? I forgot to tell people to hit the like. I don't know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the like button. Thanks. Appreciate it. Let's see if we get some questions in here for the last couple minutes. I don't even know how many minutes I'm supposed to have left. Who cares? Well, technically, we're past the end, so who cares? I want to talk to you guys some more. I got time. I'll get ready for the other podcast. I got notes done already. Tropical Aquariums New Zealand saying, my angels just laid eggs. I came back, and an hour later, they're gone. Any ideas what happened to them? Do plecos eat fish eggs? Yes, 100%. If they didn't protect them, something ate them. If this is the first time your angels have spawned, it's sort of like a rookie showing up in the major leagues, right? It's like a rookie showing up. What do New Zealanders have? You guys don't have baseball. You guys have cricket. I don't know. It's like if a brand new guy shows up at the cricket pitch. Do they play on a pitch? Field? Where do the cricket people play? I don't know. It's like a rookie, brand new guy showing up, and he just has the worst game you've ever seen, and eventually he gets good. That's what it's like with angels. The first time they breed, the first time they spawn, the second time they spawn, maybe even the third time they spawn. It's sort of rookie amateur hour. So those first couple times are sort of just throwaway. It's just something's going to eat them. Something's going to happen. It's just not going to work out that well. I've never seen it work out well the first time, you know. So I would certainly do not despair. But yes, plecos for sure will eat eggs. Obviously, it depends on the type of pleco, but I think almost every fish will go for fish eggs. It's sort of like their favorite food. But do not despair. They will spawn again. So I would remember that, and just keep up with the health of the aquarium. They will spawn. You will get some good things happening. But the first couple of times is just chaotically dumb. You know, it's just like, really, what are you idiot teenagers trying to do here? So I wouldn't stress out too much on that. Chris1BXL. Chris 1. We'll just say Chris 1. Java Moss should be free or ad-free on live shipping. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but it's just making me laugh. I don't know why. Mayhem's Tank is asking, what's good texture for a wood fence background for my 55-gallon? I'm doing an old barn wood with 12x12 oil signs. Time and money is not a problem. Ooh, Mayhem. I saw your question on YouTube about that, and it's got the wheels spinning here. I'm going to give you a better answer as we move along here, because I think I've got an idea which might end up working out fairly well for you. But my advice right here at the end of the show, if you are looking to do something like that, I would head to your local hardware or wood supplier, right? And you'd be looking for something called furring, Furring, which is going to be a thin little pieces of wood. They're super cheap, and you'll be able to cut them down to size, and you're going to want to stagger these all together. They are thick enough that you'll be able to dowel them and glue them together properly. And they'll look all staggered and weird, and you can get all the grains all different. But what I would personally do is cut them all up, then stain them, those all kind of different colors of stain, which this isn't going to be a huge ordeal because you can't really screw this up. You want them all to kind of look a little bit different, so it does look like an old barn wall or, you know, an old wood wall that's got some age to it and stuff like that. Then burn it with a torch. I do this quite a bit when I'm aging stuff for it to look and give that old look to it. But you're going to burn it a little bit. And then you can just, you're not going to put it inside the tank. Excuse me. You're not going to put it inside the tank. You're going to end up putting it on the outside up against the back, you know, and then you can add your oil signs and stuff like that. I would most likely do cutouts where the oil signs go in with a router. I would just route it out so you have an indented spot for the sign to go, though that might be a huge pain in the buns, you know, for you. I don't know. The other Bob, a.k.a. Bob Kaylor, with a $10 super chat saying, for making/taking the time, thanks. Well, hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come out to chat on the show here, to ask questions and have a back and forth. That's what this whole reason for doing this is you guys got questions. You guys want some answers. Obviously, I can't answer every single question, but that's one of the reasons that the Patreon is set up, because on Fridays I answer all the Patreon questions. Sometimes we run over or run long because I do that. But that's one of the reasons we got the Patreon with the community page. You guys are able to rock and roll all the stuff up there during the week, and then I answer it on the show. So I don't know. I guess it's not the only reason we have the Patreon, but it's a great spot. It's a great tool to be able to utilize if you can. If you're somebody who's super broke, like some people I know, I don't know, you could always email me, joel@darkstararts.com. And I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out. Fantastic Monday out there. I'm going to be heading out on down the road where I'm going to have to talk more on the microphone and run around and yell at insurance people and do all the crazy stuff I got to do today. Later. How long does this ending go for? Where's that button at?